In this lesson, I'm going to review what factors and multiples are. So in this example right here, we see a multiplication problem. The two numbers that you multiply together are called factors, and the answer that you get is a multiple. So when we talk about multiples, we're talking about skip counting. So if I said find all the multiples of 2, you're going to count by 2's. There are always lots of multiples because we can keep counting forever. The other word in this lesson is factors. Factors are the numbers that make multiples. So when I ask for the factors of 2, the only numbers that multiply to make 2 are 1 and the number 2. So there's only 2 factors, where multiples, there were several. So this page kind of sums it up. Factors are numbers that are multiplied to get a number, and multiples are the numbers you say when you skip count by a number. There's always going to be more multiples because numbers are infinite and they go on forever. There's not as many factors because there's only a certain set number of ways that you can multiply to get a number. So I'm going to do an example with the number 10. If I was listing the multiples of 10, I'm going to count by tens. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, and I could keep going all the way up. Factors are numbers that multiply to make 10. So when I think of factors, I want to think of factor pairs. What numbers can I multiply together? You can always multiply the number 1 and the number itself. So 1 times 10 is a factor pair. Then you need to think about your multiplication facts. What numbers do you know that will help you make 10? I know that I can do 2 times 5, and that's the only other way to make 10. So my factors in order are these 4 numbers only. So lots of multiples, only a few factors. Here's another example with the number 8. If I was doing multiples, I'm going to count by 8s. 8, 16, 24, 32, 40, 48, and I can keep on going. Factors are numbers that multiply to make 8. 1 times 8 and 2 times 4. Those are the only factors of 8. We'll do one more example. 20. Multiples of 20 are when you count by 20s. 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, and I could keep on going. Factors are numbers that multiply to get 20. So think of your factor pairs. You can always do 1 and the number. 20 is even, so I know it's a multiple of 2. So I can do 2 times 10. 20 is not a multiple of 3, but it is a multiple of 4. 4 times 5 equals 20. So there's 3 factor pairs, 6 factors in all. 1, 2, 4, 5, 10, and 20. In my next example, I want to talk about least common multiple. This is when you're listing the multiples of 2 numbers and trying to find the smallest multiple that the 2 numbers share. So if I list the multiples of 4, I count by 4s. And then I'm going to list the multiples of 6. I'm going to count by 6s. now I'm looking for a multiple that these numbers share. I see that they both have a 12 and they both have a 24. But I'm going to answer my question with the smallest multiple they have in common. So the answer would be 12. That's the least common multiple. And the other thing we're learning is greatest common factor. This is where you list all the numbers that make 10. So I can get 10 by multiplying 1 and 10 and 2 and 5. Those are all the factors. I can multiply to 12 by doing 1 times 12, 2 times 6, and 3 times 4. So this is my factor rainbow. I'm looking for the greatest factor that they have in common. So they both have a 1, they both have a 2, and that's the only other factors they share. So the largest factor that they have in common is 2. All right, now it's your turn to practice. Rewatch the video if you're still a little confused.